Good evening and welcome to World Lipedema Day. It's spelled a couple of ways depending on what type or what part of the planet you're on. But I thank you for joining me today. We're going to go over some self-care stuff. Primarily, we're going to target tonight's session around using a vibration plate. But I've got a few things in combination I want to bring into the equation to enhance that overall bigger self-care piece. So I'm just going to go in and share out to everybody here. Make sure I'm coming through. Okay. Well, if you have not joined me in the past, thank you for joining me. Hello again, Wanda. Thank you for joining me back to back. You're in for the, if it was 3 sessions in a row, I'd call it a hat trick, but thank you for being consistent and joining me in both. I did just wrap up my own live, which was a little bit more fitness related, if I were to give it a title. Tonight's session is a little bit more encompassing and recognizing many of you dealing with lipedema gravitate at some point to either having a discussion, using one, thinking about one. Many of you gravitate towards a vibration plate. So lipedema is not as well known a condition as it should be. And a lot of confusion sometimes between the larger, more known condition of lymphedema. Both have lymphatic issues. You can have both conditions as well. So lipedema is more prevalent than many realize. Some say 1 in 9, 1 in 8, 1 in 11, somewhere in those ranges. But lipedema is not as recognized. And the biggest impact that I've seen for the 6 years I've been supporting that community specifically through my personal group is the advantages of vibration plate simply brings to that getting the lymph moving piece. So whatever the symptoms are that you are dealing with, whatever type of body or stage or however you classify yourself, I want you to take a look at your symptoms. If you, from an activity standpoint, need things that are low impact, short in duration, you got symptoms like pain, fatigue, poor mobility, a vibration plate moves you when you lack the ability to move yourself in many cases. And right now for this session, I'm starting seated. Starting seated is beneficial in a couple of ways. It's great if you're, you do fatigue easily, you've got some pretty heightened symptoms right now and you want to get moving, but it just hurts too much. So I'm seated on a bar height stool. It gets the legs at a good 90-degree angle. We don't want those hips going too high or too low. My feet are positioned about halfway in. I'm using oscillating movement. Oscillating movement kind of has a few things that you can manipulate to enhance your experience. Wider is more movement. I say this every session. I sound like a broken record. But wider move and more movement is also more impact. Not always more benefits. Certainly not if you're dealing with lipedema. Many of you have sensitivities. You bruise easily. And a vibration plate brings a vast amount of circulation and lymphatic flow to the equation. So the biggest risk you're going to run is too wide and going for too long a duration. So before I risk that, the reason this is a point I want to hammer home if you leave with anything today, when you're first starting on a vibration plate or other activities, where you're improving or enhancing your movement and increasing lymphatic flow, you're dealing with a body that, due to the symptoms you're dealing with, has known blockages or issues with your lymph. So you want to make sure that you aren't moving more than the body is prepared or able to dissipate. So reducing the intensity, bring your speed about 1/3 to 1/2 of the way up. It's going to be smoother, less choppy and jarring feeling. And just by having my legs placed on the plate, we are already moving lymph. We are increasing circulation. We're boosting balance. It just feels good. And if you are at a point where fatigue is a concern, pain, you're not supposed to be totally bearing your weight, or you're just a little bit fearful, try seated and play with your foot distance, bring them closer. You can play with that a little bit more comfortable. Maybe put one foot in the middle, one wider, and you'll see the change. And the reason I hammer this lesson home, this is the control you have over your experience. One of the downsides of the lipedema community and many chronic condition communities is, you have good days and you have bad days. So for those bad days when you got to do the stuff, but the tolerance may be different, bring the feet a little closer. If you're having a good day or you're throughout your day and you've had other therapies and the tolerance is up and the pain is down, maybe a little bit wider is comfortable. And this is going to change depending on the position also that you're doing. So what I'd like to start with as our warm up today and end my rambling, I'm seeing someone say hello. Hello, thank you for joining me. I will invite some questions towards the end of the session. Today is about self-care, and one of my favorite hacks, just as a busy mom, is I like to combine other therapies. So I want to bring some red light and some infrared into the equation. On the floor here in front of me, I have a small panel, Lifepro's small one, and I'm going to turn, am I going to turn the red light on? Yes, I am. Where's my buttons? Right here. Perfect. So I have got the infrared casting upon, I'm wearing leggings today, but for those of you that are dealing with, benefits you're looking for, like the circulation, the mood enhancement. If you're using red light now, using a panel, which is what I refer to as a hands-free device, you're not having to put something on and take it off. It's an easy way to incorporate things with your vibration plate. I can already feel, it's cold in here today. There's a big storm going on. I can feel the warmth of the light upon my chilly toes. And it just allows me to incorporate more. If you are a stickler for the guidelines and the contras, common sense applies. I'm not wearing glasses. I don't encourage you stare directly at a red light panel for the course of your session. It's kind of in my peripheral. I'm not seeing it in my mirror or on the floor, and I'm looking straight ahead. So common sense applies. In this instance, eyewear is optional. So what I'm going to do is the next one, I want to get a little bit more upper body going. But before we do that, we're going to get some prep going. So for those of you not doing it already, one good way to help the body dissipate the increase in flow the plate brings to the equation is hitting and prepping those pathways. There's lots of phrases and doctors and salespeople out there selling these tools, but this is something that you can do at home. This is something lymphatic therapists and those working with lymph issues are very, very versed in. There's 6 major points we're going to target, starting with the sides of the neck. I'm just going to pull this down a little bit, downward strokes. You could do some light tapping if that feels a little bit more comfortable. We're going to move on to the collarbone, 5 to 6 strokes if you're doing a really quick job. If you're known to have sluggish lymph, maybe 10 to 15. We're going to move now into the armpits. I'm barely a size A, so I can reach both sides. You may need to do one, then the other, but activate that. The next area we're going to move into in the sternum, just below the rib cage, but above the belly button. You can rub that section. You can play a little bit of a drum beat. This is a big common area where things get gunked up, especially if you're sitting hunched a lot. This is an area, sometimes even if I just got indigestion, I prep my pathways and I seem to feel better. The next area we're going to move into is the groin. I'm just tapping right above those ovaries for my ladies. For the guys, same area. And the last area we're going to progress to is the back of the knees. A very, very common identifier in the lipedema community is larger deposits of fluid and tissue, perhaps, on the back of the knees. But for those of you that aren't dealing with an official diagnosis, that is an area of a telltale sign. So again, those 6 areas, the sides of the neck, along those collarbone, under the arms, sternum, the groin, and the back of the knees. And this isn't just a vibration plate specific thing, guys. If you're doing other therapies, other activities that are going to boost that circulation and that lymph, help the body out and give it a head start. Okay. So now we're going to get a little bit more direct. We're going to keep those legs going, but we're going to move into something a little bit more functional. Calf strength, keeping those calf areas moving, flexible, strong. Okay. You'll notice I've got my hands resting on my legs. you'll feel a little bit of the resonance, the movement coming up through the legs into your hands. It's kind of a great way to just get a little bit of soft, very passive circulation into the hands and the wrists. As you move those hands further, you're going to feel it intensifies. Okay, so let's stop the foot pumps. Keep those feet again planted. We're going to now lock the arms up slightly, and we're going to hook the heel of the hand. The heel of the hand and the heel of the foot are the contact point where that resonance, the movement, that vibration travels upwards. So by hooking those heels of the hands on the knees, you can even see the movement now transferring into my forearms, my upper arms, slightly into the shoulders. If at this point you're dealing with a neck sensitivity, the eyes, the ears, any concerns above the neck, I want you to reduce your foot placement slightly. Reduce the amount of impact and intensity to accommodate and be just a little bit more conservative if you are dealing with concerns. For those of you that are not, if you prefer a wider position, and this is okay, but you could take a little more, the tolerance is better. Next progression is over onto the elbows. Okay. And we're just leaning in. I'm still looking, the light's not shining me in the eyes, but I'm feeling that warmth, that path on the arms now. And on this one, I want you to relax, focus on good breathing. You know, don't fight and resist it. If when we progress to the elbows, it's getting a little intense, adjust the feet. Bring them closer. You're always in control. If you leave with anything today, less time, less intensity. You'll know what you're up for. It shouldn't be something you have to endure, okay? So on this one, once you kind of find, you know, what's comfortable, you know, maybe you're doing some neck turns, some shoulder rolls. It's just adding more lymph to those things we do sitting all day long when we feel the aches and the kinks, okay? I've already rambled 10 minutes. Ideally, each of these positions, you know, maybe shoot for a minute on the feel good. I'd rather always, when you're dealing with symptom management, the self-care piece, let the symptoms drive when you need a shake. So I would prefer you use it more often in short sessions, 1-2 minutes to boost that energy versus pushing yourself 10 or 15 and depleting it. So listen to the signs. If you've overdone it, you're going to feel fatigued. You may notice an increase short term in symptoms like swelling and pain because you've done too much. Same you'd experience with any activity or therapy. It just happens a little quicker on the vibration plate. I'd rather you feel deflated like you didn't do enough and do some more later on and just mentally give yourself a check. How am I feeling? Have I done enough? Have I done too much? Until you get a little bit more used to it. So the next progression on this one, we are going to stand now. So for those of you that are comfortable, rise up, rise up. Okay, my feet are hip width apart. My knees are bent enough that I'm not feeling it too much in the head. You can hear it in my voice. If you're standing too tall and your head's jostling all over the place, common sense, bend those knees, let the shock absorbers, the legs, the muscles, not the skeletal structure, engage in the movement. So what we're going to do here, this is just a self-care, feel good. If you are comfortable standing, and this is, you know, what you do regularly, you could back up to where I started. You could do your prep work standing as well. It takes sometimes a little bit of coordination to start moving around if the balance and the stability aren't there, but that would have been an option as well. What I'd like to do for this one is just starting at a little bit more functional movement. So by going from sitting to standing, we're bearing our weight. We're giving a little bit more on the other benefits of bone density, the strength, the balance, some of those things. So let's start with some pelvic tilts, my favorite warm-up exercise. I like putting my hands on my hips. If you don't feel quite comfortable moving around yet, put a chair in front of you, a chair back, put it beside the kitchen counter, something you can give the hands a little bit of stability with. But for those of you that are comfortable, a pelvic tilt is simply, we're going to tilt that bum forward, tilting the end of that tailbone forward, clench those butt cheeks, and we're going to tilt back, tailbone back. You're going to feel a little bit of an arch, almost a stretch feeling in the low back. Tilt again forward. Okay. Not unlike the foot palms. Time this maybe with your breathing if that feels comfortable. If you're coordinated enough, let's add some goalposts. Let's bring those arms up to a good 90-degree angle on the tilt forward. Hold, bring those elbows towards each other. Tilt back, stretch those arms back. No bouncing, just within range. Forward, back, forward, back. 5 to 10 reps, whatever feels good on this one. It's not a workout. Bring those hands back down. By adding additional movements to your basic position of standing, not only are you going to move more lymph and engage more, strength and some of the other long-term benefits, but it's also more functional. The more you become comfortable moving, doing whatever feels good on the plate, maybe you're dancing, it's going to enhance, it's going to make it a little bit more fun, and it's going to make the everyday tasks a little bit more easy to perform. So the last one I want to do, I know many of you have secondary goals, the weight loss, the strength, those type of things. Symptom management doesn't have to just be the feel-good stuff. So, if you've done a little bit, but you do have other goals, but maybe you're not ready for like a big old workout program yet, you're not a gym goer, learn one position for me that is equally effective on the self-care piece, as well as maybe serving as a launching pad to other things. I want to challenge you to do a bit more. When you push yourself even so slightly, the body's going to return with more benefits. So we're going to do a little bit of a squat. We're going to come to about a mid squat. We're not going to move. You want those heels good and firm. They're holding the mass. You should feel it in the quads, the glutes. If you're hypermobile and the knees are doing something like this, Lifepro's got a great, the swirl set, the little yoga ring, or a ball between your knees just to keep those in line. Hold until you can't hold no more and come back up. My 10 minutes is up on my light too. Turn that back on. Perfect. So what I'd like you to do is 2 to 3 reps. So if you're lasting, the 10 to 15 second mark, not moving is going to make it easier on that hypermobility. Even though we're doing now a little bit more of a fitness position, it's going to make getting up out of the chair easier, getting into the car easier. It is a very functional exercise, but the side benefits of engaging those large muscle groups is going to be, we're going to boost the calorie burn. We're going to boost the strength. We're going to boost the bone density. The more we require the body to do, the more it's going to return. If you're just going through the motions and going longer and longer and longer, the body's going to return with benefits, but not as many as if you had added a little bit more to the equation. So I do challenge you, if you're there's nothing wrong with just going through the motions. But I think if those of you that are struggling with some of the traditional fitness, maybe time's a factor. It's not always that you can't do. Sometimes the calendar gets in the way. So if this is something you can incorporate in your vibration plate time, or if you've been looking at a way of incorporating a little bit more fitness gains, it is summer, tank top season. Some of these are going to go a long way if you're doing them consistently. If you're just adding a little squat or two to the equation, whether that's incorporating some of this stuff into your existing workout or something you're incorporating new, you could do squats daily. It's when you're getting into the longer durations, you're doing 10, 15 minutes. Be cautious. Many of you are dealing in this community with mast cell. Mast cell, comes to the surface a lot quicker on a vibration plate. And if you are dealing with mast cell, things like the itch tend to be really, really intense on a vibration plate because, it activates things a lot quicker than traditional exercises. So be mindful. Sadly, many in the lipedema community don't have a diagnosis, but many are also unaware of mast cell, and it's a common thing in the community. But sometimes when we get using the vibration plate, we don't understand the association. So if you are having extreme new user side effects, things like really, really itchy. Itching is common as things get moving and detox ramps up. But if it seems severe, you got hives, you're red, it's lasting forever, you may have mast cell, and that's something I recommend looking into. So I showed you some vibration plate moves. I incorporated a red light panel. If you're looking at incorporating red light or infrared with your vibration plate session, the belts are a great tool as well. You can wrap them around your waist. Whether they're corded or not, they're a great way to combine technologies to get more optimal outcomes, whether that's self-care or maybe you're accelerating recovery. There's lots of different reasons to do that. A very common tool, probably as long-standing as vibration plates in the lipedema community, is a massage gun. So I want to have a very quick discussion about massage guns. This is the Sonic. Oh, this is the Sonic. This is the standard workhorse. Lifepro has certainly had this one in their lineup pretty much from day one. I'm also going to talk about a completely different type of moving gun, the Spinergy. So not unlike vibration plates, for those of you that are familiar, there's oscillating movement, there's the pulsation, there's lateral, and there's 2 and 3 and 4D where we're combining 2 or more movements. Massage guns typically, until this one came out, kind of operate very similar to a vibration plate. So I've got this gun turned on the main speed, and you can see the head is moving. Okay, so it's moving in a vertical fashion. Most people think when you get a massage gun, it's this exercise where you have to physically apply and be the masseuse and apply pressure. And in the lipedema community and the lymphedema community, anything lymph related, I want you to completely abandon, if that's your way of thinking. And just like the vibration plate, I want to change your approach, not changing the tool, but change how you use the tool. Any ill effects from using massage guns, vibration plates, any of these therapies are not related to the therapy itself, but how you used or applied it. So when you're dealing with lipedema, you've got to modify, you've got to change your approach for the body you're working with. So just like a vibration plate, I want you to speed it up. Traditional massage guns, get to a mid speed range, okay? And let the gun do the work. If you're dealing with hand issues, just hanging on to it is how you start. The resonance that you feel in the handle of hanging on to this thing, maybe while your feet are shaking, you're hanging on to the gun. Maybe you're just laying the gun on your lap and allowing the vibration that the gun creates itself, forget even applying it. It's a very passive, very mild way, especially if you're having a really, really challenging symptom day. If you're going to apply the gun itself, there's a number of different heads, but the approach to using and applying is the same. Instead of this mentality where you're like drilling it, I got to get the camera angle right here. Okay. Take it just to the surface where you're feeling it just graze. And it looks on camera like I'm not even touching my skin. But I'm moving faster, and I'm just allowing it to skim the surface versus, do you see the difference? Pull it back and just let it skim the surface of your skin. Lymphatic vessels are located just under the skin surface. And in this community, I can tell you the amount of photos I have been given, all these bruises in certain areas. And I know it feels good sometimes, but you're prone to bruising. So back it off. Okay, let's talk lumps and bumps. If you're dealing with lymphomas, these type of things as well. I've got many that are using this. Let's say I've got a big lymphoma here. Work around it. Get the circulation going, like in a cinnamon bun fashion. Okay, and work your way in. And I can't make any claims, but because I support such a large community dealing with these symptoms, many are finding not only is the pain and the size of the lumps and the bumps reducing, but the tolerance to the gun and some of the other therapies improve. So, just skim the surface. Don't beat yourself up and think it needs to be this big thing you got to endure. So let's move to the other gun. Lifepro launched this last year. I'm irresponsible. I have not looked where this is in stock right now, but I am going to open this one up. This is not, when you open this one up, it looks very different to what your traditional massage gun package looks like. The heads are different. The shape of the gun's different. It moves not in a vertical pattern. It spins. So on this one, I'm going to do it slow at first, but you can see, okay, there's no vertical movement. There's no vertical axis. There's, in a way, what we call oscillating, but circular pattern. So what's so cool about this one, and I'm a speed junkie, so I like this one has, I think, 6 speeds. So I'm going to bring this up to speed 3. And what this one, it's skimming in a circular fashion like this. It's not just one direction. It's kind of doing this kind of a motion. So not only does this thing weigh about 1/10, well, maybe that's not accurate, but about 1/3. Again, I'm still feeling a resonance through the grip. Oh, I'm getting all fuzzy. I'm feeling a resonance through the grip. So it's activating lymph movement, strengthen my hands just by hanging on to it. But when I physically apply the tool, you know, even if I press really, really hard, it's not applying, there's no vertical pressure. The movement, the spinning action is very, very pleasant, very, very tolerable. And this one is turning into, in my group, a really common second or travel gun. It's light, it's super affordable, but the circular motion really, really has been a game changer. There's 4 different heads on this. So there's that one. There's one that's more like a tip. And then there's this last one that's a little bit more of a bad boy. I enjoy this one on my thighs. You know, common sense applies on that as well, guys. You know, there's never one tool and one approach to accomplishing all of this. I really prefer to offer you guys a little bit of variety. One of the things that's not uncommon in the lipedema community and, you know, chronic conditions in general is, unfortunately, symptoms sometimes change just when you think you got it all figured out and you know what's going on. You know, the symptoms change on you. So I encourage you, if you have some of these technologies or you've been considering them, whether you've had a good or a bad experience, sometimes, you know, our body is receptive to certain modalities and not others. So return to things that have worked in the past. If you've abandoned them, retry things, you know, try a different approach. And with the vibration plate and the guns, for sure, less intensity and more time is kind of the overall, or less time is the overall theme. I would rather, for the symptom management, the self-care side, for sure, use these tools more often. Let the symptoms drive when you need to get lymph moving, relieve the pain. Lots of little sessions throughout the day will equate to a lot less swelling later on as a general symptom. For the red light, the infrared, I know for those of you that aren't familiar with my group and my experience in this community, heat is a stigma, a big, bad stigma. I would say many in this community have sensitivities to heat and you need to be cautious. But many are having tremendous success using infrared and red light for a variety of reasons. The common theme between any of the light therapies is circulation and lymphatic. It's a different way to do it. The vibration plate is going to give you weight bearing exercise gains. That's where it's a little bit different and why it's just so hard to just pick one. But the red light and the infrared are another passive tool you can incorporate into your self-care in other ways, whether it's combining like I've done today, or maybe you prefer as a separate treatment. Infrared sauna bags are a really affordable way to get started in infrared technology. Maybe you don't want to go spend $2-3 grand on a big sauna if you don't know if you can tolerate heat or you have limited tolerance. So, getting into the infrared world where heat is more, associated with that, getting in part way with temperature, using lower operating temperatures. It's a really great way not only to reduce inflammation, accelerate healing and detoxification, but it's kind of a cheat on the weight loss. If that's a goal, the obesity fat absolutely can be lost. And if the heat tolerance is there or limited, there's lots of ways you can incorporate the variety of the infrared technologies, whatever they may be. The panel I use today does have infrared. Many of the wearables, the belts, the gloves, all these things. So if you've got a particular body area that you're treating more regularly than others, sometimes looking at something more specific to me, like a knee brace or a hand glove, sometimes you've got areas you want to treat more regularly, more localized. So there's never one perfect device for all. Red light is going to be super effective as well at increasing the lymph and circulation, but a little more skin surface related. Red light is awesome for accelerating wound healing for those of you that have had surgeries, or you just got, fold sores and different things that are, psoriasis, just the surface condition type things. It's a great way to, add that into your existing treatments, reap the benefits of that. But it's such a passive tool with really no side effects. If you are photosensitive, you're on medications that make you more photosensitive, it's not necessarily a no, you can't use these things, but just like the vibration plate, it's more a matter of maybe just, reducing the intensity and the times to something that mitigates and better complements your situation. Other tools that I get lots of questions about are the rebounders have really been a big area of interest as well. Many of you love rebounding. It's fun. It's a great way to activate lymph. A vibration plate is a different tool. Long term, it's going to bring, in my opinion, more well-rounded benefits, whereas the rebounder is going to be a little bit more specific. There, you can't do all the things on a rebounder that you can on a vibration plate. If you're dealing with mobility concerns, just a rebounder is a little bit of a higher step. So I used an aerobic step today to prop up the red light panel. So if you're looking at incorporating rebounders, I love kind of setting up the vibration plate and the rebounder, and I've got the step in between. So, there's not this big 6-8 inch step to get up onto the thing. But that's another great way. The more things you may already have around the house that you can incorporate with your plate or your other devices is just a great way to, mix up or start improving the self-care. A lot of times self-care becomes like exercise. You're maintaining versus moving forward, or God forbid, digressing. So sometimes it's a matter of not going longer or doing more and more. Maybe it's just incorporating other things or changing the approach in the way that you're using the tools. So mix things up and revisit technologies. A lot of times in the lipedema community, if I'm going to get into the awareness role here for a little bit, there's a lot of negative energy. There's a lot of stigmas. That there's shaming, there's eating disorders, there's all kinds of downsides to dealing with these type of disorders that many of you are familiar with. If you haven't dealt with them yourself, you've supported friends dealing with these conditions through it. So a lot of times we have the best of intentions, but life gets in the way. And some of these tools, if they can give you back more you time, family time, education time, work time, whatever more time you're seeking, and reduce the self-care time, I wish that for you. I have a gal in Australia, Marianne. I always give credit every year. You're only as good as the people you learn from sometimes. And the more challenged I get in my role, the more I seek answers and improve my knowledge base. And Marianne said to me one time when I interviewed with her, she goes, self-care, everybody's got to do self-care. We all, mental health, physical health, whatever that may be. She goes, when you've got lipedema, you got to do the lipedema care on top of the self-care. So, sometimes it does be, I got to do this and now I got to do that. And then I got to, so if you're looking for any tips or guidance, you've got some tools and you're staring at them and you don't know where to start or what to do, start with one thing. Get assimilated to it, get used to it, then incorporating, a couple weeks later, try incorporating another thing or trying it on its own. If you need any guidance, reach out to me on the Facebook page. This video will be live for 30 days on Lifepro's channel. It will move over to YouTube after that date. Facebook doesn't retain live videos anymore for longer than 30 days. If you have a question, For those of you that have joined me now, I'm going to get to yours. If you're watching this later on a recorded basis, just tag me at Debby with a Y, and I'll be happy to get back to you, usually within the course of the day. So I know that Wanda is here. Let me see who else is. Hello again, Gerard. Nice to see you as well. Jen says this one, my absolute favorite. I don't know what I was doing at the time. If it's the paddle, I know that Jen is a recent owner of a red light paddle, and I kind of like the set it and forget it approach because I just got so many moving parts in my brain sometimes. I love my red light panels because I can affix them here, I can prop them up there, and I just turn them on. Whereas, sometimes my belt, or I left it upstairs, or I left it to my next door neighbor, and I don't seem to be as diligent with the wearables. That's just my 2 cents. Jen says she uses it on a lot of her clients and they love it. Jen is a licensed certified certified lymphatic therapist. I want to make sure I get my acronyms right. And she's done some tremendous educational pieces with me in my private groups and is a resource to many in this community. She's dealing with these conditions herself and has that unique balance, not only through her own experience and self-care, but through the work she does with her own clients. Incorporating red light into her little table and the work she does is just a way to get more benefit in less time and more optimal outcomes for those that you're dealing with, Jen. So good for you. Jen says super light and easy to handle, much easier than oh, you're talking the Spinergy gun. I didn't know you got that one. Yeah, it's kind of the bomb. So the Spinergy in the lymphatic community, way to go, Lifepro, that was a home run. The reason I'm reluctant about speaking stock, it will be in stock if it's out of stock. But I think the day that I did the video last year when that thing came out, I think it was sold out by 4 o'clock. Like it was gone by 4 o'clock that afternoon. Because if you've used a massage gun and you kind of abandon what you think you had to do, and this thing comes out with the softer approach, it's truly a game changer. And one of the downsides in the lipedema community is, not everybody lives at home 24/7 by their tools. So it's light, it's compact, and you can address that treatment on the go as needed, the trouble spots throughout the day, so they don't build and become this big issue later on. That's awesome. Wanda says, will they add red light to that rotating gun? This is becoming a thing. I don't know what I think about red light in massage guns yet. I think it's one of those things, red light and infrared to me, you're committing 10 minutes, if not 30. And, it's moving. I think localized, it could add a little bit of benefit. And I'm sure something will come up. The market kind of drives what things come out with nowadays. But, if you're looking at really getting into red light, I would focus on something more stationary that can be incorporated with other things, the panels, this and that. Sometimes the more bells and whistles that you get, the more it inflates costs. So, will this be a better massage gun if they incorporate red light into it? I think it would be minimal benefit because you're not really targeting any one area for more than 30 seconds to a minute. I hope that makes sense, Wanda. That being said, if you're only looking at one thing and you want to get the most therapies in one, certainly entertain that. But keep in mind, if you're trying to do a whole body treatment with a massage gun because you got the red light feature, it's maybe not the best tool depending on the application. If you've got a better example might be if you got an arthritic joint or shoulder, and it's an area you tend to treat on a regular basis, that may have more effect. So if the goal is spot treatments, consistently, and you're using it regularly, the exposure time would be increased and you'd see more benefit in relation with the red light. Sorry to get so technical. It's been a couple of technical days in my world. Jen is saying, sit in front of your panel while using it. It's a good technique for me. I like that too. I can feel the warmth. It's kind of like the sunlight, and especially we're in summer. Well, not today, but technically we're in summer where I'm coming from. But there's a lot of seasonal disorders where I'm at, and sometimes that comes with just not being able to be outdoors, good weather or bad. So yeah, there, why it works. Who knows? There's lots of different theories that I have and some science I can throw at that. But it is common feedback I get, Jen. So thank you for sharing that. I have Beth here. Hello, nice to see you. You are interested. If you're watching this later on, you will find this live in the Lifepro main group. Hello, Betsy. Awesome to see you as always. Jen says the Spinergy, yes, the bet. And the price is like awesome. It really is. I have the Sauna gun. I use the gun in the sauna. You know what? I don't know. I mean, in theory, you could. It depends on the sauna, but you're starting to sweat. You're putting lithium batteries into a heated environment. I don't know if that's the best idea. You know, if you're using it for a minute or two, that's fine. But I would suggest if you are going to combine some massage gun or other therapies, like I've combined things inside my sauna for sure. I used to dream of having like a whole sauna room. And then I thought, well, is it really necessary on my power bill? But yeah, if you want to incorporate things in with the sauna, anything that's a device, get it out of there within a minute or two. So if you're just targeting an area or you want to pull it in when you're almost getting out because things are all warm, I would prefer if you're going to incorporate sauna and massage gun after everything's all loose and you're relaxed. I think you'll find it's going to have a little more effect after. That being said, just like a vibration plate, you could also use it as a warm up. But if you are going to pull it in there, common sense applies. And, you know, just make sure you don't leave it sitting in there if you're planning on doing a half, 3/4 of an hour session, if that makes sense. Well, and I think that's all. Jen says, so good for my lippy areas and my clients. Yeah, and experimenting. I commend Jen and any of the service providers out there that are offering just a different approach. My way isn't the only way. I do ask in my group personally and in the Lifepro group, just recognize there's never one way to use any tool. But because I do cater more to the chronic, a lot of the lipedema, lymphedema stuff, sometimes a different approach with a different body is the best recipe for success. So experimenting is key. And I can't stress again, as I did earlier, revisit your technologies. You know, maybe you tried a sauna 10 years ago and it was the worst thing you ever did. And now all of a sudden, you know, your body's tolerant and it felt great. So sometimes as your symptoms and your personal biology changes and improves, progresses, wherever that goes, the tolerance on some of your therapies or the appeal to some of them changes as well. So stay curious. Like I always say with vibration plates, if you're not curious, you're not looking in those dark corners and seeking those answers outside the box. So I hope if you do have questions and fear is still a factor, which it is for many in the lipedema community, there's just been so many doors slammed and so many roads that bent around the corner more than you meant. I don't want, whether it's a massage gun, an infrared sauna panel, a red light tool, or a vibration plate. I want this to be a positive addition to your life. I want you to have a positive experience in using it. And, you don't know everything. The more you play, the more you experience, the more you absorb these sessions from myself, as well as Amber and Roseanne, the more that you'll progress in your confidence to experiment and try new things. So I want to thank you all for joining me. It is the 11th. Hello, Joan. Thank you for joining me. Nice to see you. And thank you for spelling my Debby with a Y. Easy way to ask me a question after the fact, or for those of you that are joining me live, if you have something you think about after you process Debbie's rambling a bit, just tag me at Debby with a Y. That way I'll get a notification. If you just comment, sometimes I get a huge volume of notifications in a day. Sometimes it gets lost by Facebook. So just make sure you tag me personally. And I wish there's lots going on for Lipedema Awareness Month all over the place. Lots of great talks, webinars, all kinds of things. Virtually, Lifepro is contributing to the Lipedema Summit coming up here in the US. So look for that. Any related questions, never hesitate to tag me. And join my own personal group if you're looking more for specific support. And yes, this is, I think, the 5th or the 6th Lipedema World Awareness Day that I've done with Lifepro. So never hesitate to use the search function, whether that's in YouTube or over on the Facebook groups. Use the search function and type Debby with a Y, Lipedema, whichever way you spell it. There is 2 spellings. And you'll find not only related world days, but I've done a number of sessions and I had a number of discussions in the group as well. You are not alone. And I look forward to seeing how you guys progress forward in your self-care journeys, and hope I've left you with some good tips today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see all of you next week. when I launch my next live. Keep your eye on the events channel on the main Lifepro public page. Have a good night, guys.